Welcome everyone to The Creative Entrepreneur. Today we have a great guest. We're going to be talking about design. You don't want to miss this episode, so stay tuned.
Coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. Welcome to The Creative Entrepreneur, a podcast created to help entrepreneurs build their business. Branding, marketing, analytics, positioning, and lead generation. Plus, interviews with other business owners to learn from their successes and failures. Now, here is your host, Abel Garza.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Creative Entrepreneur. And today we have Supriya Mehra. How are you doing today?
Good, great. How are you, Abel?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for asking. I'm really excited to have you on the show today because we get to talk about design. It's not unfamiliar for a lot of people to talk about design, but I really want to delve into how you started your business. So why don't you start out by giving me a little bit of information as to who you are, what you do, how you help your customers.
Sure, absolutely. So my company is called Design Mantra. We create simple yet very sophisticated designs for our wedding as well as corporate clients. I started this company back in 2009 after falling in love with designing of my own wedding. I've always had a knack of designing since I was a little kid. But, long story short, I started pursuing career in finance. I'm a professional CPA. So from 2009 to 2016, this was just a side, not even a hustle, but more of a hobby. Okay, I'm having fun with this. Let me do a few weddings here and there, get some extra cash going, and, we'll see how it goes. So things shifted slightly in 2016. I had a young family. I had 2 little kids, and I felt that corporate wasn't the direction I wanted to be in full time. And I did want to pursue design and run a business out of it as a creative entrepreneur. So I took this full time in 2016. I had 2 little kids under 2 at that time, and having a third one, growing this one, was definitely a very challenging task. Long story short, it's been 3 years. We've been going pretty strong full time for the last 3.5 years. And the hustle was there. It wasn't easy at all. Like, we all think that, I'll just open up to universe and things will start coming in. It does not happen that way. Let me tell you that.
No, I totally get it. You're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to start a business. Let's just see if they all come in. And, I start a website. Let's just wait by the phone and see what happens.
There you go, my friend.
So you're out there in Canada, right?
Yes,
you're out there in
correct,
Toronto.
Yes.
So I'm always curious to know how the economy is in that area, because a lot of the photographers that I know in that area do really well. And, like the businesses out there, how are they prolific?
So here's my take on it. Every business or industry obviously has its own challenges. Wedding or event industry is great. Obviously, in the US, it's much bigger scope. There's much more demand. Every city is probably the size of Toronto, or if not even more. I think the initial struggle came to identify who is my ideal client. Like, who am I targeting? Is it high end? Is it low, no frills kind of budget? Or is it somebody who wants something beautiful, but don't want to overspend or go nuts spending, crazy $30,000, $50,000 just worth on decor itself? So I think that's where the initial struggle comes, is really niching it down to figuring out who is your ideal client.
Absolutely.
So economy wise, it is good. It is healthy. What I do find is it's pretty seasonal. We're strictly busy from May until end of October. Now the season is spreading out a little bit when you have those budget brides who want something, going from November to March who don't want to spend too much, who are a little bit more budget conscious. So it's okay during those off, season as well. And that's where we pick up our corporate clientele. November, December is usually getting busier with our holiday events, charity galas in January, February, March timeframe, right? So that's how we try to take away from that seasonality that strictly working in wedding industry comes unfortunately with.
Yeah, it's super important to know who your customer is. I mean, having that niche market and understanding where to target your market. And there's such a wide scope there's such a wide area of market that you can tap into. There's business, there's market, or I should say there's business, there's, you can tap into individuals, weddings, whatever, just with regard to events. And so knowing your target market, knowing how to hone in is super important. What do I need to start? What are the top 3 things that I need to start a design business?
Definitely an open mind, ready to try different things and be open about it and learn from, your mistakes, or if you're fallen somewhere, okay, what can I learn out of this? Which is, I think, pretty generic when it comes down to business. But having a little bit better understanding, like what's your style when it comes to design, like who are you trying to help, like where are you adding some value, what kind of things inspired you when it comes to the design. In specific design terms, it can be even building from scratch, that, I want to create this event from scratch, in the sense I'll be sourcing everything will be custom. And the client will come with an idea, and I'm going to elaborate or work on it and work with their, whatever their preconditions are basically, and come up with a game plan. So that's one way to go. Another direction might be, no, here are some pieces that I have, which are pretty functional in many different ways. And I will be creative just with this specific inventory, and I'm going to create magic just with what I have, in front of me. So I think understanding which direction you're going will be huge. Secondly, another thing will be really track number of hours along with the investments that you're making from day one, because that will eventually get as a habit. And, you really need to understand how much profit you're making on each of these clients, so you can pivot along the way. You can make adjustments along the way. And profitability, again, should be key when you're looking at the numbers, right? The sales number might look huge, but when you see that, okay, I had to hire a graphic designer, I had to hire this person or source that material, profitability at the end of the day might be even just 5%, which might not be even worth to take that, to make that decision. But initially, to build your portfolio, to get into the door, it's okay. And it's fine to do that. My other recommendation would be reach out to the other designers that you look up to. A lot of times you're hesitant and you're always thinking, oh, what if I, ask this question or reach out to them, they're going to be, they're not going to help out. That's not the case. I think look up to mentors, find people who inspire you, reach out to them and tell them that you do admire their work, and take them out for coffee or a lunch date and pick their brain. Some of them, are established for 20, 25 years. And I did that initially. Like I really had a list of people who I wanted to reach out, and I still do. I continue to flourish those relationships and see that, maybe in the future, I'm able to provide them some kind of value. Yeah. So I think it's really important to have some kind of mentor in the industry who you look up to, basically.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So know where you want to go, know what you want to do, know where you want to go, network, keep track of all your expenses to know your profitability, and find yourself a network or resources to build your business through networking, events, mentorship, anything like that.
Absolutely.
Great
That's all
information.
key.
How much did you start out with? Like, did you bootstrap it, or did you get a loan, or you say, you know what the hell, let's just utilize the resources that we have and just start calling people?
Yeah, I started it with a $10,000 line of credit, basically. And that was it. I bought a little bit of inventory. In 2009, when it was a side hustle, I started with $0. Like there was no investment that I had made. How I stepped into the inventory is as soon as I published it to my friends and family, let them know that this is what I'm doing. They were my guinea pigs. As soon as I got a deposit or the money coming in, that's when I, bought the equipment or whatever material I needed in order to.
And so this side hustle, it was building for how long?
I would say good 6 years.
So you were building for 6 years, and you're generating some income, and you built your inventory,
right?
And so you had at least a little bit of inventory before you invested the 10,000. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so in addition to the small inventory that you had, you threw down 10,000. Well, 10,000 in credit, which is fine. Same thing, using other people's money, whatever.
Yeah.
And so you threw down $10,000. So overall, 6 years. How can I expedite that? How can I expedite those 6 years of inventory to get to the point where you're at?
Definitely network as much as possible. Go out there, meet as many people as you can in the industry. Get your word. Try to connect people through even doing style shoots and stuff like that. So
that's interesting.
That's how you'll get a little bit more name out there. People will get to recognize you, because nobody wants to work with a newbie if they don't have a portfolio under their belt. So I would say invest your time in terms of creativity and come up with concepts. Reach out to the people who you look up to, and do it. Like I've done style shoots using stuff from IKEA or Home Depot and literally return that stuff in a couple of days, right? So
we're not telling anybody that.
I'm not telling anybody that, not at all. But here's the thing about the design and creativity, that use your creative efforts. Like if you're all hands on, create something by yourself, or get somebody in your family who can assist you do that. But just get out, reach out to people, network. There's in any business, I think networking is the key. It's like I met so many planners in the initial stages just to get that relationship going, giving them value, that, sending them clients, or if I knew anybody in my circle who needed some kind of venue. So starting building those relationships. Oh, I know this venue, I can connect you to them. That's when the magic starts happening.
Exactly.
When you help other people, that's when they see your value. And that's when, the trust starts to build in and kick in and all that. You still have to do a lot of legwork. Don't get me wrong. You still have to be creative in terms of what you have to offer, and provide some kind of value to your clients, obviously. And then take it from there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, so you have a spectrum of customers that you're targeting. And I guess initially you targeted one particular type of customer, right? Am I correct by saying, or did you just shotgun your marketing and say, let's see who bites?
Exactly. I literally threw some spaghetti on the wall and then saw, okay, who can stick to this?
Okay.
And, worked our way through.
So who's your primary target initially?
So initially it was strictly South Asian couples getting married within, a couple of suburbs near Toronto itself. Who had certain amount of budget, but decor was not a big thing for them, because I knew like a high budget client would not want to experiment with me at that point. So that's who the initial clientele or people who I was targeting at. Now it's completely different. Now I know that my market is more professional. It's usually one could be South Asian, another person is usually from some other ethnicity. They have a decent amount of budget. They want something simple, yet something very beautiful that has a lot of details involved in it. Starting from your invitations down to creating a whole storyboard with them. They're looking for that kind of expertise that somebody will bring on board, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So how are you targeting right now? Like, how are you leading? How are you generating these leads?
Yeah, so I have invested a little bit in a good website, SEO. I try to do regular blogs and networking definitely with the right vendors who I feel are having my target audience. It can be planner, it can be photographers, even the venues. Working with different venues that I know that we have done a lot of good weddings in the past, collaborating with them in either style shoots or their open houses. Um, Also being in touch with my past clients who were my ideal clients, taking them out for coffee or being in regular touch with them. Networking, again, I try to reach out different planners who probably I haven't worked with, but I know there will be some good relationship going in future. Take them out for a coffee, lunch, just seeing how their business is going, and sharing some of my thoughts, or just having a general discussion, getting that relationship going.
So what are some of the challenges that you face right now?
Initially, when I started, it was definitely even understanding who's my target audience. Like I said earlier, was my biggest challenge. I think I was really trying to target everybody, but nobody was kind of sticking to what I had to say. Now that I have figured that out, it's much better. Sometimes it's really getting to explain the value that you're bringing on board is sometimes a challenge, I'll be honest. But over the months, that's getting better as well. It's just, I would honestly say, keeping that balance, sometimes being an entrepreneur and also running the house, minding the kids, sometimes creating that boundary in the business is very difficult, because all you're thinking is about your baby, about your business.
Yeah.
There is very little time when your brain kind of shuts off and not think about business. I think that's the biggest challenge, that getting the brain to shut off and just taking your time in terms of personal, self-care is definitely a challenge when you're running a business of our sort.
So, so we got the know where you want to go, like know what direction you want to go, know who to target, network your business. You need about a $10,000 investment and balance your time for sure, like personal and business. But I want to know, and to go back a little bit, and I want to know what you spent that $10,000 on, or did you spend it over the course of over the course of the trajectory of your business? Did you use it all at one time, or did you take little chunks of that 10,000?
I gradually used it. It wasn't used all in one go. Initially, I got it to do some marketing, do some bridal shows. So it was spent for branding purposes, to get the word out there, get a little bit more traction. Then eventually it was over to get some inventory in place, spend some money on a basic website, some logo designing, again, marketing and advertisement is where I had spent rest of it.
Awesome. Just being able to understand where that money goes and how much we need to invest to start this business is a huge value. Or for a lot of people who want to get into this business, knowing your target market, knowing that you need to network your business to brand yourself, and getting those leads. What are some of the habits that you're doing right now that you feel contribute to your success?
Yeah, so I definitely follow a very strict morning routine where, I typically wake up around 5:30, somewhere between that, and read some material, on business or self-development for a good 20 minutes to half an hour, a few pages. I do journal my gratitude, thoughts about, what's working, what's not. and just daily goal journaling as well. So I can bring that mental state in my mind and be more productive during the day. So that's my morning routine. I think that has really helped me take a lot of noise out from my day.
Do you write everything down, and then what you don't accomplish, move over to the next day? Is that how you do it?
Yeah, so I journal everything down, and then review my calendar basically at the same time. That, okay, is this serving my goal? Is this activity going to serve my goal or not? And then, critique my calendar for a few minutes, and, then make changes accordingly.
Do you prioritize those right there and then? Or do you just say, we'll just throw them all together and see what I get accomplished?
I'd say 75% of it, I'm pretty sure that this needs to be done in order to, take the business forward. Rest 25 to 30%, I have a little bit more flexibility on that. Okay, if I can't achieve it today based on my schedule, then it can, go over to next day, which is fine. I don't kill myself over that.
So one of the things that we as entrepreneurs have a challenge with is building a team. Do you currently have a team?
I am blessed that I definitely have a great team that I was able to put in place. So initially when I started the business, which was a side hobby, at that time, I was literally doing everything from meeting the clients, doing the sales, and even up to the point of setting everything up, with obviously with help of my family. My husband used to come and my brother I used to take, we used to use our small car to shove everything in, and we used to go and do all our setups. But over the years, I've been able to have a strong team with like great drapers, great full designers in team, even design assistants who are there on the day off. They are executing, they're making sure that all the details have been taken care of. And I do have an admin assistant who would, go through all my contracts. If there is any automated marketing material needs to go out, I'll take a look at it, revise it, and then she will be the one publishing and everything like that. All the smaller stuff, she'll take care of. So yeah, I'm really blessed to have been able to develop a strong team.
That's amazing. And it's a great way to expand and scale your business. How did you find these people? I mean, did you go onto freelancer.com? Did you go to an area to where you just put the information out there and said, who's interested in design? How can you help contribute to my business or my goals? Some of the questions that I would have is where to find these people, where to find quality people to help build your business.
I'd say I've been very blessed in finding them through my circle, in the sense I would tell my family and friends, I would tell other vendors, I would post it on Instagram and Facebook, and just to within my community, okay, this is what we are looking for. This is who we are looking for. And once I was able to get 2 people, it was just a referral from there. Okay, do you know anybody who can help us? Say for example, driving a truck or loading and a draper. So it was really through my own community that I was able to find. I tried Indeed and a couple of other job sites in the past. Somehow it hasn't worked for me. They would work for a couple of days and then just go.
So these are full time. They're not people who are part time, or
they are freelancers. Yeah,
freelancers.
So they would come in only when we have projects going on. Since our work is very seasonal, so it has never made sense for me in terms of numbers to hire somebody full time, at least at this.
Is that the same with your assistant also?
It is with but for my assistant, we do have regular work even after the non-busy season, because we're still updating our website. We're still updating our marketing materials. We're still meeting clients for next year. So there's still a lot of work that happens during those off seasons. So for her, we have, few hours fixed, but it's part-time. So we do have some hours fixed every week, so she can focus on that. But rest of them are based on the projects, basically. So if we have 3 projects, I know we need like 3 different teams for that particular week. Or something.
That makes sense. So usually we like to end the podcasts with 3 words of wisdom or rules that you live by. Do you have any of those right now?
Yep, sure. One is events in general can be challenging. So definitely know your numbers, like know where your time is being spent, understand your ROI, understand which channel is best suitable for you. Track down even by project if you can. I think it should be mandatory because every event is different. You really learn from each and every event, and document those and try to implement a better strategy from what you have learned going forward. I think that's one piece of advice. Second would be personal development. That's a key. You should definitely dedicate at least 45 minutes to an hour on daily basis on personal development. It could be reading books. It can be listening to podcasts. It can be just having a date with your mentor or somebody who you look up to. That's another piece of advice. Third is challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to get out of your comfort zone. Where I failed initially was I just trusted or oh yeah, my website is that, it's done. That's it. Now people will start calling me. Or I met one planner. Oh yeah, she's going to get me the leads. No, that doesn't happen. You need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to, go out to networking events or social media. If that's the strategy you're using, you really need to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And that's where you start seeing results.
Absolutely. Just getting into the grind, getting out there, meeting people, networking, utilizing your resources, talking to other people, and just like you said, learning every day, getting up early, exercise if that's what you want to do to get that blood flowing. But, getting out there and actually grinding is so important, because I've noticed that as a photographer, you need to get out there and get the name out. You need to get out there and start meeting people, finding out what the market is, how the market is going, and just understanding what people want. And so if you're going to corporate events or wedding events and you're a photographer, videographer, screen printer, designer, whatever the case may be, if you're going out there, at least you understand what direction the market is going. You have your finger on the pulse by talking to people. Even if you just got on the phone and started talking to 100 people, you're going to know which direction the market is going to go. So that's a great opportunity to understand where you're going to go, what you're going to do. But you really, really need to focus on is what exactly do you want to do? Where do you want to take your business? What type of marketing are you going to do? Know who you're going to target. And of course, in your case, you just raised a little bit of money, raised some inventory, and utilized those resources and invested back into yourself and build your business. So it was a great opportunity to pick your brain and understand how this design business was built. You've built this business to where it's 6 figures or more, and it's been a great podcast. And podcasting is another great opportunity also to build that network also. So how can our listeners get a hold of you?
So you can shoot me an email at info@design, DESIGN, mantra, MANTRAA.ca. Or you can send me a DM at in Instagram at design mantra. It's DESIGN mantra MANTRAA.
Awesome, thank you. There you have it, guys. It was a great opportunity to meet you and have you on the show today. You're an inspiration to me. You're an inspiration to our listeners, and I'm so glad that you were able to come on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Eva.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you haven't done so, please subscribe and check out our website at thecreativeentrepreneur.net. And until next week, keep on keeping on.
Thank you for listening to The Creative Entrepreneur. Please click the show notes for additional information. Want to know more? Click on the subscribe button and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by visiting us at tcepodcast.net.